Are you ready to know what you don't know about social media? Well, then you're in the right place. This is the Seb Rust Show on Social Buzz on Air. Social Media Radio. Bringing you tips, tricks, tools, and extreme value. Broadcasting from our studio in Miami. And now, here's your host, Sebastian Rust.
Hey, what's happening, party people? Welcome back to another episode of the Seb Rust Show. So glad you took a couple minutes out of your day to hang out with me. This episode is a replay of a talk that I gave for a client in Nashville a few weeks back, a company called U.S. Health Advisors. I work with their Miami and Nashville office. This company is making some big moves by providing families with affordable health coverage. They did $1 billion in sales last year. So to say that I'm ecstatic to work with them would be an understatement. I've titled this talk, Committing to Social Media Content, because that's just what you have to do with this whole social media content thing. Here we go.
Really the way of the future for how we're going to conduct business when you get beyond your first year of being a part of U.S. Health Advisors. Because we're not just selling health insurance, guys, we're primarily selling us and our services. And the better we do at branding ourselves, the more money we're going to make, and the less you have to be on that CRM. And everybody would probably agree with me that VanillaSoft serves a purpose, but we don't want that to be how we build our career. You guys agree with that? Yep. All right, so I'm going to keep bringing them back, and I'm going to keep leading from the front with my marketing campaign because I believe in this so much, and this is how I'm going to get my personal book of business back launched in the right direction. So I'm going to turn it over to Sebastian, and he's going to just do his thing, and he's going to make himself available for you guys to pick his brain and utilize his services. So guys, give him a Nashville warm welcome, Mr. Sebastian Rust.
What up, Nashville? I brought the sunshine on Wednesday, Thursday, and then by Thursday afternoon, it was just back to Nashville. So, it's great to be back with you guys. A lot of familiar faces I remember from last time. Who was here last time by show of hands? Okay. Excellent. So a few newbies here. So speaking of that, I want to take a second to recognize those of you that made a decision to take my talk seriously last week on really getting. It just feels weird to say a head start on building your personal brand because this stuff's been around for almost 16 years now. Oddly enough, Facebook just turned 16 years old. It may be 15, but still a long amount of time. A few of those individuals, first being Elena. Elena had just joined the company when I was here last month, had not even passed or got her license yet, was just getting started, and was the first one to corner me with her debit card and say, sign me up. I have no idea what I'm doing, both with the business and both with my personal brand, but this is part of it. So big round of applause, Elena, for stepping up and making that commitment out of the gates. We went over across the street yesterday while there was still sunshine. We actually had to find places to get out of the sun, oddly enough. But we shot her first two videos right across the street here. And when I say she's a natural, she's a natural. She was a little nervous. She had a mouthful of marbles. The first, half part of the first video that we did, we shot two. And then by the second one, she was like, bam, on location, back to you at the station. I mean, she was on it. She really was. So thank you for your commitment to that, believing in my work and stepping up. I believe it's going to pay dividends for you in the very short term. You're going to, most of us would rather wake up in the morning and eat our pillow than cold call. So if you don't like smiling and dialing, not saying that you should eliminate that, there's definitely a gift to the phone. This helps you start to reach an audience that you're not currently reaching because you're just on Facebook to screw around and look at everybody else lie to you. Okay. Another individual is Shelby. Shelby came up to me and she goes, I don't know about being on camera, and I just know I need to do it. And I just have a couple questions. Actually, I have a lot of questions, so we can just sit down for a second. I answer all her questions. She goes, all right, I'll be right back. She goes right back. She's like, here's my debit card. Let's go. I'm shaking as she's giving me her debit card. We went downstairs yesterday, and again, another natural. Absolutely nailed it. Her better half, David, not so much. But Daniel, I'm sorry. That's right. I call him Ben, so,
That works.
And that brings me to the next individual, which is Mr. Benz himself. in his fancy suit back there. Again, was a little, what am I going to talk about? What should I do? But being a leader in this company and in this office, he knows that how valuable it is to step up and speed of the leader, speed of the pack. So we just got done shooting his. He came in this morning fresh with ideas and said, you know, Sebastian, I have people asking me all the time what I do. And I don't always have time to get back to them and tell them what I do, but I'd like, but wouldn't it be great to just send them a link to a video that says, my name is your boy D Benz, and here's how I roll with these fancy suits. So we went ahead and shot those 2 videos. It rolled right off his tongue. He was a little nervous on the first one too, and there wasn't a lot of life in Daniel, so I had to breathe a little life into him a little bit. So I took his glasses off, and he couldn't see. So he's like, I don't really need to see you. I'm like, how many fingers are I holding? Just kidding. But he goes, this might be better because I actually can't see. I'm not focusing on anything. I could focus on the message that you want to communicate. So we're filming these videos so that you can educate and differentiate and motivate people to keep you top of mind. That's what we're looking to be able to do. These videos aren't here so I can sell you something. I sell solutions to voids and problems. You guys do the same exact thing. Thank God I've been able to build a business out of doing this. But this second U.S. Health Advisors agency client, which is you guys, that we took on, was by design. I told myself, Miami's a great place to live, but I don't want to be stuck in Miami. My daughter's going to college in a couple months. I've just turned 40 last Tuesday, or this Tuesday. Was it this Tuesday? Yeah, this past Tuesday. So, and I feel 19. So I told myself, you know what? I wanted, and the phone's going to start ringing because I've got ambassadors and a volunteer army down in Miami that pay me handsomely, but they believe in me, they believe in my work, and they think I hung the moon, and I think the exact same thing. So we're live on Facebook. Big, huge shout out to Ron Leonard down in Miami and his team, Eric Horstmeyer, Alex Contos, the entire team at U.S. Health Advisors. I appreciate you because without you guys, I wouldn't be here right now. But I created a model and I designed a model that worked for my lifestyle. I said, I want to spend some more time in Nashville. Next thing I know, I met Doug Gould and said, I know I'm here every single month. I'm paid to be here. I get to go see Dirk Bentley tonight. I am amped. The point is, if you want a lifestyle business, you gotta have a lifestyle. And I don't want anything crazy. I just wanted to go, if people need my help here in Miami, my goodness, who else needs my help out there? And what a perfect opportunity to stay within the U.S. Health family and just go from office to office. So I made a list this morning. You know what I did? I got on LinkedIn and I typed in U.S. Health Advisors. And I said, what's the number one place, number two places that I want to spend more time in? I spent 10 years in Orange County, California. Orange County, California, anywhere from LA to San Diego sounds amazing, nice and warm. It's actually snowing there right now. But other than that, so Southern California was top of my list. And then I started to look at other locations. Denver, yeah, Denver would be cool. Phoenix, well, my daughter's going to college in Phoenix. I'd love to figure that out. Chicago, my daughter was born there. I spent a lot of time there. Love to spend some more time there, especially during the summer when the Cubs are playing. Because I get done here, we spend 6-8 hours together cranking workout, and then everybody moves on with their day and their regular life. I just happen to be in town. So what do? I go hang out. 40-year-old single guy, you think I'm not going to Broadway? Come on. So the reason I bring this up is you've got to design and you've got to be able to say, this is what I envision for my business and my life. Like, this is what works for me. This year I told myself, non-negotiable. It's absolutely yes, or it's no. Not, yeah, sounds good. I'll let you know. Those are fillers to say, I don't care about what you're saying. I don't care about you, and I'll never call you again. You've got to look into it. Sounds good. Design your ideal scenario of your life. If I was starting as a U.S. Health Advisor, and by the way, the number one woman in my life, my incredible mother, just joined U.S. Health Advisors 2 weeks ago at Ron Leonard's office on her 72nd birthday. Why do I share that with you? I mean, come on, you'd be amped to get your mom on a board with an opportunity like this. Number one. Number two, she's 72. She hates her job. Works at a golf course with miserable people. They attempt to make other people miserable. And I said, there's a better way, Susie. I need to introduce you to my friend Ron Leonard and just have a conversation and see what shows up. She's been there every single week studying for the test. She found out a girl passed the test in 7 days. She cornered her after the meeting and said, how'd you do it? Can I buy you a coffee? And interviewed her. The girl came back the next week with the manual and everything you guys study on with cliff notes already stuck in little pages, categorized, setting her up for success. She's going to crush it. She said, this time next year, son, my life's going to be so much different. I go, all of our lives are going to be so much different. She goes, boy, they sure do love you there. I go, yeah, they sure do, Mom, and I sure do love them. I genuinely love the work I do. I would do this for free if I could. And once you get there, you know that you found something that really resonates with you. So, did I miss anybody? Did any videos? Who else did we shoot? No, Doug just cracked it. He was nervous as could be, didn't know what the heck was going on last time we shot. And went across the street. He's like he threw in at the very end. I didn't tell him. He's like, we'll see you next time. And I'm like, rock and roll. I love it. So that's what starts to happen. First two videos, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm so nervous. It's gonna look horrible. All the noise, right? And then I give you the finished product, and you're like, I can do this. And then you're texting me, I got another idea. What day are you back in March? Shelby, I can just see it right now. I'm creating a monster right now, a video monster. Because when God forbid, you get an actual deal from one of the videos on the first or second one, our relationship will be forever altered because you're going to believe in what we're doing here. You're giving a digital footprint for your brand. A personal brand in perpetuity is your reputation. You know, hopefully the market's been thriving for about 10 years. We're in for a good dip, but not as bad as 2008. And just to put things in perspective, and this solution is not something I don't want to say anything's recession-proof per se. But this is kind of you're selling a solution that people need. And they don't just go, well, let's just go ahead and hold off health coverage. But a personal brand will keep you anchored during a downturn time. Well, how would that happen? Well, if you're an HR consultant and HR consultants get laid off and they can hire you for 50 cents on the dollar as a consultant, bring you in, get HR organized, sell everybody health coverage. Again, I'm just utilizing these examples of a personal brand. 10 years ago, if you walked into a sales job in an interview and you're like, I got a blog, I blog on the side and I have my own personal brand and I talk about this and I talk about that, that sales manager is going to look you dead in the eyes and say, I don't believe this is the opportunity for you. It sounds like your focus is kind of all over the place. Now the conversation sounds like you don't have a personal brand or a following online where you can actually talk about being on the team here and what's going on. I'm not sure you're a fit because we're looking for individuals that do. So you're starting to be judged for not having some sort of personal brand where people can look you up and see about it. We just had a meeting this morning with Doug and Katie and a consultant in Chicago about some recruiting stuff, and we talked about the fact that people, what we're doing with Doug the healthcare dude is so much more than him just posting weekly content. Yeah, that's getting him consistent in the game, but we're also we're drawing a picture for prospective job applicants and team members to go to that job site, not just see some canned content, but to actually see the videos, and meet Doug the healthcare dude virtually, and see team meetings, and see Facebook Lives, and see testimonials that we shot last time, and really feel like the culture. You ever watched a video and you just felt like you were part of it? You were connected to it, or you could resonate with it? Like, that's what we're looking to do with that, just to give you the long-term, short-term on what we're doing with Doug's content. It's very important that he took the lead first and ran with it and said, I'm building my personal brand, I'm getting my book of business back, and then I'm also going to recruit and quadruple my sales team. So there are two objectives there. Oh, and then by the way, I'm going to need you to offer these same video services to my team members so they can build their personal brand. A lot of this is starting to happen. The sales teams are like, gotta have a personal brand, because there's ways to be able to just, not just a name and phone number from a lead that comes in on VanillaSoft, like you can look these people up. Like, you don't have to ask permission anymore to send someone a tweet or a DM someone on Instagram or Facebook. Make it even easier. You find them on Facebook, or you find them on LinkedIn, you just send them a message real quick. Fill out a quick form. Whatever your normal text ability, whatever your normal protocol is to avoid a phone call, you know what I'm talking about. Text message, an email, anything but the phone, anything. Can I just text them and they call me right back? No. But you can send them a tweet. How many reps out there are tweeting? I mean, again, not to say that the prospects are on Twitter. To not find them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, do you really want to do business with them? So I encourage you guys to kind of shift your mindset a little bit about what's possible, okay? So what's possible is that you can create a personal brand right now in February of 2019, and by February 2020, look back and go, I am so glad that I made that decision. I just had the conversation with Benz this morning, and I'm like, listen, look at your first two knocked out. But if you can put the blinders on and commit, you're a leader in this company, you're going places, you're a producer, you got a team, your team is growing. This is something that is a must. It's like Doug, and then next up, you know? So I had this conversation with him to put the blinders on and make that commitment for 12 months. And at the end of 12 months, look back and go, I invested X, and it converted to X. I know he's going to be able to evaluate his bank account, his team sales, and his team growth from all of that stuff. So stay tuned for Mr. Benz there on the golf course. Little Benz buzz. So, does that everybody make sense, everybody? As far as, you know, what we're doing here, what we got going on. To get started, you buy 2 videos and you only pay for one. You can buy one, get one, and I'll talk to you about that later. It's not a big deal. It's $247. If you want to do it, just let me know, and I'll swipe your debit card this afternoon, and we'll schedule you for next month. I'm usually back a day or two a month. So, and we knock these things out quick, right, guys? 15, 20 minutes max it was. So it's not a lot of time, off of your daily schedule on what you're doing there. So I wanted to start with that. I wanted to kind of edify and recognize those reps that have made the jump and commitment right out of the gates, especially the brand new ones. That's just awesome. You have no clue what you're doing, and you're like, let's go. I just know that. Sometimes, what's that quote from Martin Luther? It's like something you don't need to see the whole staircase. You need to see the first step. And so that's what happened. So I wanted to open things up by edifying those individuals and shedding some light about what we're doing here with these buzz videos. The Social Media Storytelling Content 201 is launching a podcast. And a podcast is your own radio show, and I don't know what that looks like or what the content is, or having guests on and people on and talking about it, and then making, you know, your personal health coverage business the sponsor for the show, and like being able to rebrand that stuff and then have sponsors come to you and pay you. I mean, this is where we're at 24 to 36 months from now. You have a podcast, you've got buzz videos, you've got a YouTube channel with traffic, with views, and advertisers are coming to you and they're paying. You're supplementing your income. You're paying for all of the services you retain us for are being paid for because you're able to monetize your content. So 24 to 36 months from now, that's where we're at. I know it just sounds crazy. You're like, what? Launch a podcast, sponsors? Yeah, it's reality. It's just where we're at. And it's going to be more. We're living in an environment where we're just trying to get things more frictionless. Has anybody not noticed that you can order something the second that you run out of it by simply shouting into the air, Alexa, order me some more dog biscuits? Certainly. Scrappy needs some more Chewy toys too? Yeah, not a bad idea. Thanks, Alexa. Moving on with my day. It's audio, it's frictionless. And then we'll go a step further. We hop in a Tesla or these new cars that have Apple Car and an airplane and everywhere else. There's a screen in front of you. And the screen just asks you to log in with your credentials to iTunes or Google Podcasts, or where you consume content. Podcasts are everywhere now. They're on Pandora, they're on Spotify, they're on our iHeartRadio app, their iTunes Store, Google Podcast Store. You can get them just about anywhere. My show gets distributed to about 8 different places, and all I do is upload it to one spot. So that's where we're at. I know it's cool to be able to. She said, "Watch the tea" earlier. But it's cool to be able to pull up Spotify and see your own podcast show. So I never do this, but I took some notes this morning because my mind was on and popping this morning when I got out of the gym and my ideas were just going crazy. I'm like, okay, we gotta narrow these down a second here. Okay, I want to talk about 3 things today. The first one is putting in the work, doing the work. The second is more on the personal side and what you envision and what you manifest and all that, new world guru stuff. That a lot of it is, there's a lot of truth to it, if there's action behind it. And then I want to talk about practicality, like being realistic of what's possible with what you guys are doing. So first things first. You can't fake push-ups. You either do them or you don't. Same thing with hard work. The only thing you're doing by going through the motions is holding yourself back. That's all that's happening, not doing the work. Well, how do I, if you really want to throw yourself into the fire of actually doing the work, get some accountability around you. A lot of us dodge accountability. Boy, was I a victim of doing that. If I told you, would you believe it if I told you that I was in my own way for 2 straight years until the end of the summer last year? I was in my own way. One client hanging on a vine, going, boy, I hope it works out. Hope is good and bad in the scenario of hoping it's going to work out while you're on the couch on a Tuesday. Probably not so much. And then one day it just clicked. I don't know what happened. I've done a lot of personal development work. I encourage you to do that. Tony Robbins is ever in town or near, you can make it happen. Go see him. He's been my mentor for 15 years since I can remember. He really shifts your mindset. There's the Landmark Forum. There's all kinds of different courses that are, they take you outside of your comfort zone and force you to stretch you out of your comfort zone, way out of your comfort zone, to the fact that you are forced to look in. It's messy. Change is messy. But whatever's on the other side of it is not. And that's the cool part about it. It was a rough 24 months. I took a 2-year sabbatical, and I didn't mean to. Like I could afford to take a sabbatical at this time. But I didn't. I just lived on a line of credit, coasted through, and I said, it's gonna take as long as it's gonna take. Because the only way out is through. And I knew that. Eventually you get to a point where you stop blaming everybody, you start harnessing hostility and being upset with your situation and blaming it on others. Anybody know people like that? They can't take accountability for their own life, so they go out and it's everywhere, unfortunately. But being able to rise above that and say, I'm accountable. I forgive and love people from a distance, right? And I talk about this stuff on a more personal side because this isn't just some hoorah, rah-rah pep rally that I'm here to give you. I'm here to share what my story is in an effort to shift your mindset. And when your mindset shifts, your life changes. I was in a Smoothie King the other day, and I walked in on a Monday morning on a good one, right out of the gym, way too much pre-workout. And the clerk, she's a young girl, but she's the manager there, and she said, I said, what's happening? She's like, oh, I'm just having a rough morning. I said, wow, what's up? Well, it's Monday. I go, what? A bad day is no Monday. Are we clear about that? Like, that's a bad day. No Monday. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, you got to turn it around. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. You got to run this place. I don't care if you're selling smoothies or whatever you're doing. You got to, if you want the big job, you got to be able to do the little job. She's like, yeah, I guess you're right. You're a motivational speaker, aren't you? I said, careful, but you watch your mouth, young lady. And I thought to myself for a second, I started from nothing, and now it's something. It's very motivating. I speak for a living, so maybe I am a motivational speaker. I don't know. She goes, I just want to launch my own brand. But it has to do with food, though, because I love to eat. I'm like, me too. So when are you starting your brand? When are you doing this? I don't know if I'm going to have time. What time do you get out of here? About 5? 9 to 5. I got 24 hours in one day, 8 hours to work, 6 hours to sleep, 10 hours to chase and build your dream. If you want it. You want to own Smoothie King, or you want to work at Smoothie King? And that's the only downside of Facebook Live. You can hear phone calls. She said, thanks a lot. And I said, not a problem. I'm here to help. In fact, I'm right across the street. The coffee's great. Come see us over at WeWork. And I thought, wow. And the whole morning I'm going, am I a motivational speaker? My buddy Gary Vee has the same problem, is that he's been sharing a message for so long that is very encouraging. And he's done some stuff with Tony, and there's been a few things that he's done, but he really speaks to life. I listened to an episode this morning about mental health. Because when we're able to change the word health to happiness, we're already winning the mental health problem or epidemic. We're focused on mental happiness, not mental health. We have this stigma on here. He said what separates me from most is he's probably worth $600-700 million, and he would live in a 1-bedroom apartment with his family right now if he had to. Because it just doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter to him. He's a practical guy. And I thought, whoa. So I'm negligent not to dig a little bit deeper into the reality of life, because life shows up sometimes and it requires change. It's our decision whether or not we will actually want to take action on that change. But whatever's on the other side, way brighter than where we're currently at right now. Maybe you're good with where you're at right now, but if you are frustrated You are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah, you got a great new opportunity at US Health Advisors. You know how hard it is to close a deal, Sebastian, when you're new there, let alone pass the test. I got to work a side job. My husband, my spouse doesn't believe in really what I got going on there. The struggles are still there. You made the commitment, you got licensed, and you're here, and you're in the door, but that doesn't always mean everything is rainbows and butterflies. So I'm here to tell you today that's completely okay, and the way you feel right now is exactly how you're supposed to feel. But leveling up your thinking is what takes you from here to here. And that's what happened with me. When I was running circles, I was chasing my tail. 2 years. And I'm 6 years into the game. I fire all my clients because I was sick of what I was doing as far as being everything to everybody regarding social media. I just wanted to get very granular and create what I did. So it makes sense now in retrospect. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was perfect. It made sense. 2 years was a little long to like figure it out. But again, you know, it's going to take as long as it's going to take. But it all starts with your mindset, all of it. I've been here from the morning meetings the past couple days. And it reminded me, one of my first jobs when I was 18 years old, I answered an ad that said free beer and rock and roll. I was like, I'm in. My sister bought me a t-shirt for my birthday this week that said, I just want someone to look at me like I look at beer. See, I shouldn't share the t-shirt thought. I totally lost my train of thought on that. What was the last thing I was saying? See what happens? Look, squirrel! Holy cow, lost my train of thought. We're just going to go back and...
Morning meetings.
Morning meetings, there we go. There we go. You guys never lose your train of thought in the middle of your pitch? Liars. Anyway, ADD moment there. Okay, so yeah, Monday morning meetings. My first sales job when I was 18, answered an ad for free beer and rock and roll. That's how I got into the t-shirt topic there, okay? So I go in there and the music's playing loud. There's a hot little secretary and this guy busts out of the door. Kind of a similar office, a little nicer. And the guy's some big Italian guy comes out like this. How you doing? My name's Mitz. And I'm like, Mitz, huh? He goes, yeah, they call me Mitz because my hands are big like baseball mitts, huh? Come on, kid, sit down. I come in and sit down, and Toho walks me through the park, and I'm just like salivating. I'm thinking, this is it, the whole nine. He's like, listen, we're an artwork company. We sell framed up artwork. Monets, Van Goghs, Picassos, Dalis, etc. Right out of the back of your car. We sell them for $20 a pop, and you make $5 a picture. You think this is an opportunity for you? And I said, it sure is. I got one problem. He said, yeah, I have no trunk. Actually, I have no car. So he goes, why don't you call me on Saturday? We'll figure this out. And I was going back home. However, I got home. I was living in Tampa at the time, and I saw this little Plymouth, those little 2 doors with the hatchback. And it was like $400 or $500 on the side of the road. And I called him on Saturday. I'm like, hey, Mitz, remember me? I came in. I'm like, listen, I don't know how we're going to work this out, but there's a car for $500 on the side of the road. He's like, I'll be right there. And he bought me my first car. And that was my first sales job where I would go door to door and I would walk in, not asking permission, anything. And I would just walk to office and I would say, I started bothering my boss, sent me over. I got this framed up artwork like this big, framed up, all ready to go. Let's go, ladies. Grab your cigarettes and checkbooks. I'm right downstairs in the red truck. And I did that for probably, until I got fired, about a year, something like that. But I am grateful for that. Unfortunately, it was the old school sales environment of burn you down and bring you up. And I think that's why I'm pretty tough these days, is because I was raised in that environment of, you get back at the end of the day and you fell short, well, you know, your numbers are terrible, you're terrible, you should reevaluate your life, go home, think about what you did today, and come back in the morning. And this is before text and social media, you come back the next morning, you're the greatest thing in the world. But the reason for that is they kick the day off on a positive note. We get in this room and have a morning meeting, we start doing these juice chants, everybody in the corner, we start clapping hands, doing all these, get everybody all fired up, and you run and go sell artwork all day. But I'll never forget that there were rules to working there and doing what you do. You had this little card, and there were like the top 5 things. I forget what they called it, but it had some similar name. But it was the rules. Like number 1, be on time, have a great attitude, get at work 8 hours, stay in your own territory. And everybody had all these things memorized. But there was an acronym that really stuck with me, and I always remembered it. And I thought about it again when Doug talked on Thursday morning when he said, you know, other people's money. And the acronym was PMA, equals OPM. So positive mental attitude equals other people's money, and that's so true. And then this morning, Ben's talked about when you get desperate on the phone. We've all been there. I can just close this deal. I can pay the light bill. If I could just close this deal, I could pay the light bill. That's what the customer hears, just so you know, in a sense of desperation. My boy, we've all been there, certainly. But yeah, that was a fun. Every time I see the pictures, occasionally in offices, especially offices like this, because it was 20 years ago, and see what I did there. So anyhow, keeping a positive mindset is number one. It really is. I made a decision. I made a choice to step into my power at the end of the summer last year after a 2-year meltdown and going through some good positive change and becoming who I needed to be for the next phase of my life. Because if you don't become who you need to be for where you're headed with your life, you're just going to end up screwing it up. I firmly believe I was protected by having to take those 2 years off. And as I stepped out of it, I think I had given a talk or something that really, I spent a year not on stage at all. And something started to click when I gave a talk because people were so receptive to it. But when I really started, instead of going, so here's your Facebook page and here's what you post, like I'm not your social media coach, dude. I'm not the guy that shows you how to use Twitter. Like there's a tutorial out there for that. I'm the guy that shifts your mindset into, I don't need that because I've never needed that. I just need my leads and whatever comes in and referrals that I have, and I'll run my business from there. I don't need social media. I'm just here to share factual information with you so that it starts to register a little bit and you're like, oh yeah. Because the second you get a nibble, even a like or a share or a, hey, can I talk to you? I didn't even know you were doing this. Can we schedule a call? Does anybody know Ron Leonard's story down in Miami, how he got involved and opened the Miami office? It's a great story. His kids were surfing together in Melbourne because Don Dente surfs every day because Don Dente designed his ideal life in Melbourne. And he surfs every morning, and his daughters surf with Ron's son every day. And Ron was doing some contract work and would spend most days in his board shorts and sometimes a tank top and a shirt, barefoot on the beach. It was a beach bum. It was what do you call it at the time? A nuclear engineer. But involved in some contract work, and he kept on asking his son, like, what are those girls' dad do? And he's like, I don't know. So one day he was getting out of the water, and the girls came up. He's like, hey, listen, you surf with my son every morning. And Ron's like, so what does your dad do? He's like, oh, he sells health insurance. And at the time, he's paying like $2,500 a month for a family of 4. So Ron's like, I need that. So Ron showed up at Don's office in board shorts and flip-flops. He put a shirt on for the meeting and was just there to sign up for health coverage and save some money. And then it ended up being like this whole orientation for new reps. And Don's like, or Ron and Don. Ron, not to be confused with Don, went up to Don after the meeting, gave him his license and his credit card and said, I can do this. Let's get this background check rolling. Spent 11 months in Don's office in Melbourne, made about 100 and change in 11 months. And after 11 months, he goes, I need to take this show to Miami. I can do this in Miami. And showed up with 2 people, Eric Horsmeyer, and then Alex Contos was the third that had joined. There was 3 people 2 years ago. They're at almost 70 reps now. And it all happened through a conversation on the beach. He left being a nuclear engineer making $225,000 a year to his 3rd year with U.S. Health Advisors. He finished at $929,000. First year, $175,000. Second year, $375,000. Third year, $929,000, and his stock options kick in January. That's when it really gets interesting. Does this opportunity work? It does if you do. Ron works 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I don't know that I could work that hard. I feel like I'm always working. But he says, I never take a day off. I take time off, but I never take a day off. And I've been committed to that for 3 years, and it's equaled well over $1 million. I thought I was seeing things when my wife texted me the picture of my W-2 that showed up in the mail, or whatever it's called. I thought it was a typo. So I called Don. I'm like, Don, there's got to be something wrong. No. It's absolutely correct. And thanks for your hard work. We're just getting started here. And Don is where Ron is headed, right? Don's doing twice as good as that, if not more. But it's a 5-year deal that you get in. You're willing to work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, not take weekends off, and head down and committed to this. You will become a millionaire. $1 million. Has anybody ever seen $1 million in here? By show of hands, ever? Doug has. It's not about just the money and the whole, like, it's the practicality of being able to leverage yourself and create a platform with $1 million. What can you do with that $1 million, right? I'm doing all this for one thing, and it's legacy. Standing room only at my funeral, baby. I want to be able to look back in 20 years and have my daughter look to her kids and say, this is your grandfather. This is where it all started back in 2010. 2010, Mom, that was like forever ago. Legacy. And then for years and generations to come, when I'm 110 and out of here, to be able to consume content wherever it goes. I don't know how it goes, but I've got a message that is, I feel resonates with people. Why? Because I've got a story. We resonate with stories. They make emotional connections, right? Because you go from nothing to something. That's encouraging. It's encouraging for you. If it happens to you, it's encouraging to those that are around you. But I can't stand up here and talk to you about doing the work and making the commitment. I just told Shelby this morning, I said, I can sell you videos with a clear conscience because I create videos myself, right? I have a food show, I go live, we're live on Facebook right now. I am a product of the product, and I believe you have to be a product of the product to sell the product. Practicality is saying, hey, listen, I know that I'm consumed with learning this business, with getting licensed, with working leads, with working with my team, with remaining accountable. I know that it's only realistic for me to focus on social media 1 hour a day. I'll delete the apps on my phone so I'm not blown up with notifications, but I don't know if that's the best scenario for sales reps. Advisors, if compliance is watching. Why? Because listen, if someone needs health and coverage, if someone needs health coverage and they go, anybody know how to help me get health coverage? And I can't reach you immediately. I can't send you a message in a group text and do an introduction and send you a screenshot of a lead. Like, this is a hot one, go. Because you don't want to be, I can't deal with social right now. Where was that? Oh, I was at the hotel this morning. They had the most beautiful doodle. I have a doodle too, a golden doodle. And this one was blonde though. Her name was Julep, Mint Julep. She's awesome. Look at my Instagram. And I'm like, oh, you should check out all the doodles on Instagram. She goes, oh, I don't do Instagram. And I'm like, oh, you will. Oh, you will. And yeah, she said she was a retired educator, and et cetera. So maybe she doesn't use it. Maybe she doesn't need to. If you're retired, by all means, everything I'm telling you right now, other than being able to make sure you have a right mindset and constantly reaching for a higher level in your life, if you're retired, God bless you. But I'm not. I'm just getting started. But practicality and doing the work are what it takes. $929,000. Could you imagine $929,000 1 year? 1 year. Like, what? That's explosive growth anyway. 175 first year, 350 the second year, 929 third year. That just goes to show that when you're willing to get in there and do the work, it pays off. I was mind-boggled with sharing these numbers, and then go around the room, start talking about the reps and how much they made each week. And to see a brand new rep make $5,800 in 1 week, I am fired up. It's encouraging to me. It's contagious to see that environment grow and what's taking place. So I don't know how long you've been with the company. I don't know if you're brand new. Just getting started. How many people just got started in the company? Cool. Welcome, guys. Probably one of the best decisions you ever made. They don't pay me to say that. I say it because I believe in them. I say it because I see what takes place here. We had a call earlier with a consultant, and she had commended me before the call and said, I wanted to commend you. I don't even know you. We just connected online, but I just wanted to commend you for being so involved and embedded into the process of your client's business and brand. And I said, this whole brand building thing is not let me just tell you what to do. I guess I could do that, but it's just so much better to become friends with the people that I'm working with, to spend time, to grab a drink, to grab dinner, to hang out, to be in a group chat. It's just much more fun. Doug was in Miami on Friday. We went to church, brunch, because that's what you do in Miami. You go to brunch, you go to church. Well, no, brunch and then church. Well, actually, I do it that way. Only in Miami. But we had a good old time talking about what we're going to do this week. I'm like, hey, Doug, I'll see you in 2 days. He was in Miami. I'm headed here. He's like, bundle up, Buttercup. And I'm like, I'll bring my coat. Don't call me Buttercup. But it's just to be able to, it's part of designing your ideal life. And I texted my mom that last night. She texted me and said, I reached over, grabbed something, my shoulders pulled out, and I power BNI. And I need to go see Dr. Marty. That's the chiropractor in my chapter. He calls himself Dr. Marty, doctor with the big hands. He has giant hands, but you want him to have giant hands when he's adjusting you and something's off. So she was telling me about that. And she goes, how was your day? And I said, you know, Mom, it beat my expectations, actually. I got paid to do what I love, and I got to take people from not doing what we're doing to doing what we're doing. And I see the look on their face, and I see them light up, and I just see their spirit just perks up just a little bit. And, you know, the bottom line is I've designed my ideal life, Mom, and I'm living it now. And it's, oh, this is just the beginning. This is just the second U.S. Health Advisor's Office. How many are there? 50?
There's 50.
Yeah. This is number 2. So we're part of something real special here. This is like we're all, I designed this, let's get out of the outside Miami program to be able to come in, create a strategy, create a brand with the leadership in there, and then be able to continue to roll that out to everyone so they have the same opportunity to create their, you know, Bob the healthcare dude, Judy the healthcare lady, whatever it may be. So this is a marathon. This isn't a race. This isn't something that we do this today and we get immediate results tomorrow. This is that we put 12 months of hard work in and commit, put the blinders on and go, I'm just gonna do this and see what happens. Too many of us have a crystal ball. We're reading into the future. Oh, I just know it's not gonna work. And the number one thing is fear. Fear is the core of the videos. That's all I hear constantly. I don't want to do videos. I'll look like crap on video. Mom, let's speak very highly of yourself. Oh, I just know. Why? What should I just know? You don't know. So I read a quote a couple weeks ago from Andy Warhol. It said something like, just keep creating art. Like, don't worry about what the beholder is going to say about it. They're going to say and feel however they're going to say and feel about it. But it doesn't affect what you're creating. The creative side and the consuming side, two different ballgames. And they don't operate together and they have nothing to do with each other at all. We are interpretation machines. You know what that means? It means we make shit up. Constantly. The kicker, it's on automatic. Okay? So the only way to check that reel that goes in our head constantly is to be conscious about what we're actually putting in there and giving thought to and meaning to. And what do we want to be right about? What do you want to be right about with this whole social media game? You think you're going to prove 16 years of technology growing and continue to grow and disrupt? You're going to prove that wrong by digging your heels in and saying, I'll never join Facebook? It's ludicrous. It all happened the same way with fax machines and beepers and cell phones. Plenty of us would say, I'm never getting a cell phone. I don't want to be on the phone at my house and it's attached to the wall with a cord. That blows my 18-year-old's mind. She's like, so you had to like stand there? I'm like, I will beat you with this corded phone. No. Yeah, she calls flipping out about the Wi-Fi. I'm like, let me tell you something about the internet. We used to have to go to the library, okay? You use dial-up, right? Remember those little AOL coasters? You put a little piece of tape on them. There were perfect little coasters on here. This is why I took notes. I never check my notes here, but I don't want to miss anything. These were good treadmill notes this morning. Oh, create leverage. That was the last topic. You got to create leverage on yourself. So in November of 2017, I walked into an Equinox sports club. Has anybody ever been to an Equinox sports club? They're in major cities. Not that Nashville's not major. It's just kind of in the middle of major and minor, right? So Miami, New York, LA, etc. The place is bananas. I mean, eucalyptus towels, you know, a pool, steam room, great trainers, classes, kickboxing, Zumba. You should see my moves. So I thought, I want to join this place. I had worked out at one in LA and I fell in love with the place. And the reason I did, it was in Orange County. It used to be called the Sports Club of LA. And I knew the place was really fancy and it was always a couple $100 a month. And it was for rich executives and rich people, right? I was, you know, a bootstrap salesman when I lived in Southern California. $200 a month, I can go to LA Fitness for like 35, right? It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm staying at one of my mentors' houses at the time. This is the guy that moved me out to California when I was 20 years old. His name's Damian Zamora. He's a stellar marketer and owns a company called Go Mobile in Southern California. He's become one of my best friends and mentors over the past 10 years. We had a chance to reconnect because of social media. But I went out there and I was staying with him, and he said, you can no problem, grabbing the guest room for a couple of nights, but that's going to require, your rent for that is that you've got to be up at 5 and go to the gym with me, and we go for 3 hours. And I was like, chill for 3 hours at the gym, dog. We'll see how it goes. So he goes, yeah, we will. So sure enough, 6 a.m., he's ready to rock and roll. And he's like, here, drink this. It was a little pre-workout. I'm like, I don't think I should drink this. He's like, you'll never make it through if you don't. I'm like, all right. Just guzzled it down. And like 5 minutes later, like if you've ever taken pre-workout, I'm not telling you to take pre-workout, but it does make you real excited about the gym. Let's go. Anyway, I don't need any stimulants whatsoever. So anyhow, we get to the gym and he's like, we're gonna kick things off with swim class. I'm like, swim class, sounds great. Should I bring my flippers? He's like, no, they got them there. So we're there and it's a perfect morning and the pool's like half inside, half outside, and the sun's coming up over the mountains with palm trees, and we're swimming, and the swim coach is like, you're doing it all wrong. I'm like, for 38 years, I've been swimming. And I learned how to swim that morning. So we did a 30-minute class, went upstairs to the treadmill, did another 20-minute running class. So we're an hour in, then we went lift some weights, and then you go down, there's a nap room with a jacuzzi and a steam room and the whole line. Like you look in the thing and it opens the door with like your vision, like it's a top-notch place, right? So I looked out, so we go in there, we shower up and get dressed and the whole nine. He's like, you hungry? And we go out there, there's a full cafe, got an egg white burrito and a protein shake. It was like $39. It was awesome, right? So I get out of there and I look at my watch. We get there at 6:30. I look at my watch. Oh, I sure it was 9:30. I'm like, oh my gosh. He goes, it just takes that long. I wasn't going to go in there for like 3 hours. You know what I mean? It's a little excessive, but when you go through the whole experience. So I was sold about this place. And I get back to Miami, and I'm still this is like 2016 and 2018 transition period. It's not the worst of times, it's not the best of times, but I'm all fired up, and I run into Equinox, and I'm like, I probably want to sign up. They're like, okay, it's a $350 initiation fee, and it's $175 a month, and it's a 12-month agreement. And I'm like, I'll be right back. And I didn't come back. So that was like the beginning of 2016, I think it was, around there. And right around Thanksgiving in 2017, I went to lunch in the same mall that the club's in. I go, you know what, let's just go take a look at Equinox again. If they've got a pool and a steam room, well, let's give it a shot. And I'm like, because YouFit for $10 a month, I go 10 days a year, right? Any of these other ones that just hasn't happened, I'm like, $180 a month is gonna piss me off. Like that is gonna make me so let's see what's available. I walk in there and she's like, listen, it's the end of the year. They never waive the initiation fee, so $350 is waived, and we'll prorate you because it's almost the end of the month. Give me $115 today and $175 a month, and you're in. It'll be the best decision you've made. And I'm like, done. And I remember I felt the Shelby hesitation with the debit card. I was like, here you go. And sign here, sign here, sign here. And I text my sister, I go, just joined Equinox for $180 a month for 12 months. Sometimes you gotta create leverage on yourself, sis. This bill's gonna piss me off, but I'm gonna be here more times than I'm not here. She goes, I think that was a good move, little bro. And usually she'll be like, I'm not married, so you have to have, my daughter, my mom, and my sister are the ones that attempt to run my life. But the point of the story here is that you've got to create leverage on yourself. I don't have any raving facts about what's happened since November of 2017, other than I've just been showing up almost every day. I take about 2 days off. Thursday, because I have BNI and the gym opens at 5:30, gotta be there by 6:30. It doesn't work, I could probably go later, but I like the morning action. I like to get it out of the way. So so it's been a year and 3 months. I feel better. I don't know if I look better. I think my beer gut and my muffin tops have shrunk a little bit, which is always good. I don't feel the muffin tops when I go like this. You know what I mean? I felt them for a long time. So I'm sharing all this stuff with you because I didn't get ripped and the whole nine, right? Clearly. But I feel better. When I look in the mirror, what I see is an improvement, and I feel better about that. And the connections and the people that I have met over at Equinox have been invaluable. It really has some really stellar individuals, from NFL players to Desmond Howard, who played for Michigan. It's on Sports Center. He's there every day at 5:30. Boy, Desmond's in there hitting it hard. Been able to meet him and be like, I know this is weird, but I wake up with you and the guys during football season every Saturday morning. Anyway, that was the first thing I said to Desmond Howard. So, and Derek Jeter. So any baseball fans, Derek Jeter's in there a few times a week. I'm not a Yankees fan, but he's cool. Welcome to Miami, Derek. So it's cool to like just be in this environment, right, where you're around these people, but I'm also connecting with people. And I'm also connecting with people that are no longer there, that used to work there. And I'm saying things like, so what's next? Oh, entrepreneurship, I'm gonna continue to train, I'm gonna do this. Well, cool, I know you're in transition right now. I got a really large client I'm working with, and they sell health coverage. Like, you can't find it right now. Like, my mom just joined the company, and I'd be more than happy to make an introduction. I mean, personal training, health coverage, I mean, it's just perfect. You train people in the morning, at night, sell health coverage during the day. Sounds like a dream job to me. I'll make an introduction if you want. I've just been constantly, every time I find out somebody's not there, there's a whole wall of like trainers with postcards, and you just have to see which postcards aren't there anymore with their contact info. It's a process of elimination. And then you go to Instagram and hunt them down and message them. So creating leverage has now started to create opportunity for me. And I'm also there every single month, because every month Equinox wants their $180 every single month. But those frozen eucalyptus towels are one of a kind. And you sit in the steam room, the frozen eucalyptus towel, and you're like this. Now, if the steam room breaks, it's a whole different attitude, a whole different mindset. And I'm going, give me clean hands, Lord. Give me clean hands and the peace with all understanding, yeah. But creating leverage on ourselves. And sometimes you can do that by committing to things that you're scared of, that you're fearful of, that you're unsure of being able to commit to. Sometimes when we got a little skin in the game, we're ready to go. Maybe you start with 2 videos for $247, right? You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. But Elena didn't know what she was doing, worked out pretty well for her. I'm excited to see what happens, 6 months from now, 8 months from now. There's some individuals that have never touched a lead before. How many people in this room would love to never touch another lead again and still have business rolling in? Yeah. Alex Contos, who's like my sister in Miami, top rep of the company. Never bought a lead in her life, not once. She made 225 last year, 230. On pace to do $500,000 this year, easily. She'll double that, no problem. Never bought a lead in her life. But she believes in the social game, the content game. We're launching her podcast. We have her videos. She'd already bought videos from some other vendor. She's firing on all cylinders with her content. Never bought a lead once. Not once. She posted every single day the same thing. Just saved the family $4,000. Just saved another person. Just saved a small business. Just saved an entrepreneur. And was consistently in the game with her own content until she was in a gnarly place when she started. Most of us are when we start. It's messy. Huge transitional phase that she was in. And I was like, whatever. She's like, I just need to learn this. I just need to learn this. As soon as I learn it and get acclimated, then I'll buy everything you got. I used to create videos for her with her law firm that she closed about 4 years ago. So we go way back to like flip cams and like when things were hard to create videos. Now we do them on smartphones. But think about that, never buying a lead ever again. And here's the thing, part of this deal is not just buying a video and being able to say, yeah, I bought a video and I put it on Facebook on here. It's people pay me to shift their mindset, I really feel, because I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm gonna go do it. And at the end of the shoot, they're like, now it all makes sense and I'm so glad that I did it. So it's a process, it's not a complicated process. We just have a conversation. And I say the first video is gonna be your 30-second commercial. My name's Sebastian Rusk. I'm the brains behind Social Buzz TV. We are an integrated marketing solution to help businesses and brands tell their story with videos and podcasts. I also moonlight as an MC and a professional speaker, and I rock bow ties like it's my job, because it is. If you have any questions about booking me for your next event, bow ties, or telling your story with podcasts or videos, give me a call. I'm here to help. That's my 30-second commercial. Constantly, over and over again. How many people in this room have is there a script? Is there a script? Sales script? How many people in this room have that memorized? You know the power of memorization? I'll never forget, I had a sales rep. I had to memorize a 4-page script. I'll never forget, it was $2,000 for 2 weeks of training. So like sales world, you're like, scored, right? Turnover must have been ridiculous, but they screened very, very well. I'll never forget, they sold airplane parts. It was called partsbase.com, and they gave us a 5-page script on Friday and said, don't walk back in here on Monday without having this thing memorized. If you do, you're fired and you forego your training bonus, is what they would call it, the $2,000 to get right out of the gates. So I went home and I put page 1 on a note card, page 2 on a note card, page 3, 4, 5, and constantly. I had this fear inside me, like, there's no way that I can walk back in that room on Monday and face that big tall guy that runs the meeting and talks good. There's no way I'm gonna be able to face him and tell him that I didn't memorize it. Because they wanted to be able to, once you got it memorized and you're actually on the phones and in there, they walk around randomly and go, pitch me, pitch me, pitch me. And if you can't pitch them and you can't continue to memorize and keep it on point, they just fire you like instantly. That was the environment. And I'll never forget that. Because I couldn't wait for that big dude to come busting in my hip. Big guy, big gut, for the whole night. He'd come in and be like, pitch me. The power of memorization is that we, number one, it becomes habitual and we get into our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is really what runs the show and dictates what we got going on. So we want to be able to effectively communicate with the subconscious and be able to, and the way we do that is repetition is a form of being able to do that consistently. So if you haven't done so already, take the script home. The script was written for a reason because it works. Doug, does the script work?
Script works.
Fens? Yeah. Script works. It was written for a reason because it works. Memorize it. I promise you, this is just like I don't care what you do. But if you memorize it, I think your job in life will be a little bit easier. See people stumbling all over the place because we want to get creative and say our own. We think we have this Scooby-Doo ending on how we can approach a customer. Like this stuff's being sold to people for the past 8 years. And people understand, they want to be heard and understood. And the more familiar you are with the script, the better your life is going to be on the phone. I do know that for sure. You just do the same thing over and over again consistently. And then when you start creating and taking this whole storytelling thing seriously and saying, I'm in, I'm committed, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm in, then you start to take it to the next level, right? Because you're sticking to the script, you're focused, you say the same thing every time, it's habitual, you're not desperate on the phone, you're confident, you're comforting, you're advising, you're telling people, you're answering people's questions, you're there for that trusted source to people, and then if they're not ready to make a buying decision, or even if they are ready to make the buying decision, hey, you know what, Mr. Jones, it's been great chatting with you, and I'm so glad that we have a solution that we're able to help you with today. So first of all, welcome aboard. Second of all, I want you to head over to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page. Are you on Facebook? You talk to your grandkids or your kids or whatever on Facebook? Okay, excellent. Go ahead and like my page. It takes a half a nanosecond to do that. And then head over to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to it because that way you'll get a notification on your phone and an email anytime a new episode drops. And I create episodes and videos on YouTube. I bet you like YouTube, don't you, Mr. Jones? Oh, you do? Yeah, your grandkids love it, the kids love it. I know, YouTube's awesome. So you'll get a notification every time a new video drops. And I do everything we talked about today and all the questions. I started to cackle a little bit when you asked me that question because I thought, you're not the only one that asked this question. Everybody does. And that's the reason that I created a video. I wanted my customers frequently asked questions to be answered. And I wanted to take it a step further. I wanted to have their SAQs answered too. Those are the should ask questions. Those are the questions that should be asked, but are not. So, Mr. Jones, can you commit to doing that? Oh, I sure can. I got YouTube open right now. Excellent. Hit subscribe. Oh, I saw the notification come in right here. And then a year from now doing that. Number one, you are educating, motivating, differentiating yourself from the rest of the crowd that are smiling and dialing to find people that need health coverage through the lead system. You're separating yourself from the crowd above and beyond that, and all you're doing is saying, hey, it's just like the old school way of saying, our business thrives on referrals. Oh, really, Captain Obvious? So we sure would appreciate you telling your friends and family about me. This is the way for me to be able to do that. Because Mr. Jones can now go to your Facebook page, and he can go share Billy's video and go, I just saved $1,000 a month on my health coverage because I just talked to a guy named Billy, who I like a lot. He's got a video here, meet Billy too. This is the reality that we're living in. We no longer communicate where it's like, hey, I'll call you up and give you a name and phone number. How many people get pissed off if somebody calls you other than a business call? Hey, you couldn't text me first? That's the world we're living in right now. Meet people where they're at. Don't make it difficult for people to do business with you. Meet them where they're at. Where are they at? I don't know. But don't avoid an area where they could potentially be. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. If we really look at the micro and the macro of things, the macro is that we're creating content and getting in the game right now. The macro is that when people are searching for health coverage or affordable health care, what is Affordable Health Care Act, what is Obamacare, what is open enrollment, people are searching for these type of things, and you're creating content around these popular topics, then your videos start to show up in search results. And people are like, hey, I saw your video on YouTube, how can you help me out with my health coverage? You talk about feeling good. Like somebody finds your YouTube video. Somebody called me out of Arizona. He was a single U.S. health advisor rep just by himself, but he was like, yeah, I was on the company call, and I've been following Eric Horstmeyer, man, he's crushing it down there. Guy's like number 10 in the company, he kills it, right? And he found me through a testimonial video that Eric shot for me that's on my YouTube channel. Typed his name because it was in the title, it popped up. So he goes, the only video I saw of Eric's is I was trying to find his videos. I'm like, his aren't showing up on Google yet, but they will. Does that make sense to everybody? Is this resonating? Everybody excited? How's the pizza? So I'll be back next month. I don't know the dates, we're tentative. We're not sure what days they're gonna be, but it'll probably be on or around where the meetings are at, or we'll just call a special gathering like we did here, and the model's gonna rinse and repeat itself each and every month as we continue to add and grow onto that. And that is, we get here, we shoot some reps, we film Doug's stuff, we figure out a strategy. We, I'm trying to bridge some gaps for a few things that I just know because I know business, and I'm here to give. I'm here to give what I'm paid for, and then some on top, because that's the trick. You find yourself giving to a point where it's like any relationship that you show up to, where you're just, how can I give to the relationship versus how I can take for the relationship, and it was a game changer. It literally flipped the switch. I'm like recruiting for Ron down in Miami. We're bridging some gaps on a few solutions here. I advise whenever my advice is welcome from the client, but I love it, and I feel that it's received well from both the client and the people that are there. Everything that's happening right here is everything I do every Friday in Miami. Similar culture, different city, different people, but the same thing. Everyone's working to the same goal. They see the same vision of hope, and that's what it comes down to. What's your why? It's for you to decide. But helping other people every day, if you haven't figured out your why yet, that can be a good little substitute until you figure it out. Figuring out your passion, it's that funny feeling you get in your gut in the morning. And you think to yourself, yeah, I want to do that. And helping people is a great step in the right direction of figuring that all out. So I'll be back next month. Those of you that are on board that haven't signed up yet, you buy a video, you get a video for $247. When we sign up right now, there's no call me later. You're not thinking about anything you thought about when you showed up to this meeting. So it's making a commitment and diving in to do that. And then when I'm back next month, Katie will help organize us filming, and it takes 15 or 20 minutes like I shared earlier this morning. We filmed a tremendous amount of content for 5 reps on this trip, including Doug 6. So I got here Wednesday night, so we really got started yesterday. So it's a streamlined solution and a hack to be able to create consistent video content every single week and get in the game consistently. And then sit back a year from now and go, what took place? Because I did this. And I don't know what that looks like, because I'd be here till next Sunday, sharing the crazy stories that come out of how we connect now. I met a guy at the hotel bar last night that was a beverage distributor in San Francisco, sells wine. And he said, I don't know what I want to drink. And I said, I don't know if you've had the Belle Meade bourbon or not, but it is, local bourbon here is outstanding. There's a camera right there. Okay, cool. He said, I know Belle Meade well. And we sat down, we got talking and chatting, and I don't know what happened. He ended up saying one thing or another, but he gave me his business card. That's what it was. And I pulled up his business card, and I pulled up his name on LinkedIn, and I connected with him instantly, and we had 5 mutual connections. Like, this is the world that we're living in right now. There's no hey, give me your phone number, I'll call you next week. Oh, my secretary, call you next week. It's like we are instantly connected forever. I read a book called The Breakthrough Speaker by a millennial speaker named Smiley, very, very hard name to pronounce, but the kid's like, 28 years old, making $220 a year, doing public speaking about how to keep millennials in the workplace. It's a great topic. And throughout the book, he provides a tremendous amount of resources. And one of those resources, he talked about a speaker's like workshop called 3 Ring Circus that shows you how to get into speaker bureaus and how to work with them, etc. So he showed up, and the lady that put them on is a lady by the name of Charlotte Rayborn. And I'm like, cool. Speaker bureaus, like, you don't go to them as a speaker and go, hi, I want you to rep me, I need an agent. They're like, we'll call you, you don't call us. Very similar to Hollywood, right? So I remembered Charlotte's name, and I immediately pulled up LinkedIn. I pulled Charlotte up immediately, and I connected with her, and she accepted my request right away. I was like, this is cool. Like, the speaking agent game, the bureau is a whole different ball game. Like, again, you're not gonna don't pitch me, bro. That's like the epitome of don't pitch me, bro. So I connected with her, sent her a quick message. Hey, Charlotte, great to connect with you. I just wanted to let you know I found out about you through Smiley, whatever his name is, his book, Paluski, something like that, very close to that. She goes, I didn't even know Smiley wrote a book. And I said, yeah, it's called The Breakthrough Speaker. You should totally check it out. She will do it. And I said, side note, I'm an event MC and keynote speaker on the topic of storytelling with podcasts and videos. So if there's ever a need, anything that comes across your desk, keep me in mind. 3 weeks roll by, and she messages me on LinkedIn. She's like, so how involved are you with your podcast launch solution? I'm like, well, very much involved. We literally take you from zero to launch, and I have my hands on a lot of it's still a new solution, so I have my hands on a lot of the moving parts that are there. Why, what's up? And she's like, well, I'm the president of the International Speakers Bureau Association this year, and I've been tasked with launching a podcast for the association. I'm like, would love to help you. Because I'm thinking, wait a second, what perfect timing of being able to how this all comes together on here. But my point is, I read a book, I connected with Charlotte on LinkedIn, I told her what I did. It was obvious what I do when I go to my LinkedIn profile, that I'm a public speaker and that I launch podcasts and I help businesses tell their story with content. So she immediately came back to me. She replied yesterday with a couple questions, and they really want to get the show developed and at least an episode done by their annual conference on April 3rd in Vancouver, and roll it out from there. And then of course, I'm credited with helping them with the whole entire launch. And that's going to happen. So that happened, again, for illustration purposes, by me reading a book, finding out about somebody. I just heard Speaker Bureau. I didn't even know what she did. And then she reached back out to me and said, hey, here's what's going on. So the power of social media and how we connect, I mean, it's instantaneous. It really, really is. So you never know where people are going to find you. But if you're not there, they're not going to find you. I just sell an internet solution, go into business product in Southern California. People would constantly call and go, how much money am I going to make? What are the success rates with this? And I said, I have no exact numbers as far as success rates are concerned, but I can guarantee you 100% failure by doing nothing today. That was kind of a canny little response to get back with people, but that's the reality of it. I don't know what kind of response you're going to get with, or success rate you're going to get by getting into the social media game and creating your own personal brand. I just know that you're not going to get anything by not doing it. All right? So that's about all I got for you guys. Let's go with some questions. I'm sure you guys have some questions about something pertaining to this personal branding and social media game. No? Friday, dude. You're the only thing in between happy hour. Well, I appreciate your attentiveness and our delay with pizza, but we had to wait for pizza. So when you have to wait for pizza, it's like, it makes it all okay. So if you want to get signed up, come see me. It's $247 for buy one video, get one video. We'll get you set up. When I'm back here in March, we'll get them filmed, and let's rock and roll. Everybody fired up? It's Friday. Thanks for staying fired up.
Thanks, guys.
Hey friends, Sebastian again. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. I sure do hope you're leaving with at least 2 things that you didn't know when you tuned in to this episode. If you liked it, please do share it with the friends and people that you share podcasts with. And if you haven't done so already, make your way over to the iTunes store or wherever you consume podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the show. And if you feel so inclined, and I'll really appreciate it, leave me a review. I'm Sebastian Rusk, signing off from our studio here in beautiful downtown Miami. We'll talk to you next time.